Hello and welcome to the TheSageOfTarn Alpha version 0.5, April 2024. It's been a while. We'll get into that. So to follow up on last time, I was working on streamlining the inventory, making sure that every slot within it could be equipped with a unit, as well as making sure that the player had setups ready so that any of the outcomes associated with any of these slots in the inventory could be used. The R1, R2, L1, L2, and so on. After this, which is in the beginning of autumn last year, I sort of hit a little bit of a break where I had to choose what to work on next. Would it A, be continuing work on the inventory, the player, the beginning of the level, and the first level that we have, and the bosses for that, and all the other units for it, like fleshing the start of the game out fully, or work on the entire map, like the whole map of the game, like map everything out so you know what goes where. And so I started working a little bit on units and trying to figure out what I wanted in the first area, at which point I realized I can't really commit to this without knowing what comes after, and to know which units come after I will need the map, like the whole thing, to know what goes where, so I need to work on the map. Which is why, for the last long while now, I've been working on level design. It's a bit of a jump to a different field, but I've been drawing the initial areas in the map editor. I've been making one, or actually a few boss arenas, a whole bunch of secret levels in the pre-existing levels that we have made, as well as, if we jump into the edition, making large-scale level design for the next few levels. Estimation is currently 27% of the overall map, perhaps a little bit less, perhaps a little bit more. It's kind of hard to judge whenever I've added the secret levels. It has its associated base layer background, so there's no foreground or anything for that yet. That will be a whole bunch of work later on as well. There is design details and hidden areas as mentioned in pre-existing levels, so the starter level as well as the ones that follow right after. I've been making a new chunk maker script because I needed one. It's essentially the same as the old one, but the new one allows for like smaller pieces to be made. And then we move into the thing that is interesting for today, which is that I've added 13 doors. And doors is a new thing, because while working on all this level design, let's jump in here, I realized I need to be able to, if we're on the ground here, if this is just one big ass squiggly line for the whole map, it will not be very good. It will be sort of too simple to just follow it all the way. So I kind of wanted to segment it out at several places. Also, when you overview the whole map and you do the level design, you could see, okay, it would be good if the player could go through right here in different spots, where it just seems like the right place to do this. Cut right through. This is how a door works. We currently have 8 door type configs. These are like the standardized versions for how the door can flip as it just did. I'll do one more. We can open and close currently using the one key default condition, which is just hitting spacebar. This will of course change to potentially a whole bunch of different options, I would imagine. Throw a key in a hole, pull a lever, touch a pressure plate. It could be any kind of thing. So that's just set up for it. The current 8 door type configs are just the default ones. The way I've made the system is so that I can make essentially any type of door I would like, be it these ones, which are 2x2, it could be 4x4, it could be any size really, which means that the door can also be used to manipulate larger pieces of environment later on if need be. Moving on to the adjustments, I've adjusted the chunk maker script, removed a few if statements that were causing the issues, as well as making a copy of it so I can use the old version still, which now allows for pieces like these to be made. And that's the basic gist. I also removed some redundancies in the game handler, things that weren't being used, that there was some leftover code there. I cleaned out some bit. Then I have adjusted the terrain in all of the places where doors have been made, like here. The 13 other spots will of course need the rest of, we'll need to accommodate so that we make a hole that the door can be placed into. That goes for both sides, of course. Let's see, what's the next? Oh yes, I've made the preliminary step event ordering for all objects. This is a little bit of a complex thing. I thought the game was following its instance creation order. It is something that's very specific to the engine. Basically, the order of which objects get run within certain events is apparently randomized. I didn't know this. I was using it the default setting for some, what do you call it? When the object dependency, I suppose. And that is not a wise thing to do because the engine reserves the right to change this for the sake of optimization. So they will run, in order for it to run more efficiently, they can do it randomly within each event. So you need to manually take control of it to make sure things are running in the right order, which was a little bit of a hairy ball to get through, but I have the basic setup for that now as well, so it shouldn't be an issue in the future. Let's see here. I believe that's all for the additions and the adjustments. This update is not, I mean, I want to say it's not very large because what I'm showing you is not going to be very large, but the rest of it certainly is. Let's move on to some of the bug fixes. Introducing doors has, of course, introduced some bugs, because you can't have something new without having some bullshit. So first things first, imagine that I'm fast traveling at a great speed right now, going really fast, and then I hit the door. I clicked the door key, the door has now flooped, and we can see it has changed, which is good, that's what it should do. Prior to this, when we were moving at really high speeds, we could get into a position where one of the two sides of this, we basically have two vertical sides here in the door, one of them would not have flooped. It would still be the old one. Because of the way that the game is loading, you could get into that position where it wouldn't load the other side of the door when it changes, which of course means the door goes completely out of whack. So I had to fix that. That is fixed. Additionally, the old standing and grabbing, these two animations here, would not work when I flipped the door. Because it would basically, they weren't taking into, I'd been a bit lazy, okay? They were not taking into account what they were standing on. They do now, so now they will follow when the door floops, no matter what position they're standing or grabbing in. They will stand correctly when the environment under them changes. It's the same thing that all of the other animations do, really. Let's see here. Now we get to some of the fun bit. Let me see if I can set it up. Because I need to hit a specific combination, and I hope I haven't blown past it already. There it is. So, let's see if I can pull this off. Oh, I think this will work. So, introducing doors, of course, as mentioned, introduces a couple of bugs. Not all of them serious. Let's see if it works. So, he is not supposed to be standing on his hands when this has happened. Okay, that is not that's not the grabbing animation that we're looking for here. But this can apparently happen if you do it just right when you flip the door. I probably can't do it again. But even from the side here, he's supposed to do this, right? So that's a little something I'm probably just gonna leave in, because it's just an animation issue, but it doesn't really do anything. It's not really a problem. Just a fun bit. You can handstand in the game, feature added, I guess. Another thing, which is a little more serious, but also something I feel could be an interesting thing to save, is that if I grab onto the ceiling here, I let go, and while I'm in the air falling, if I flip the door, something's gonna happen. Oops, okay, well I did it wrong. Forgot to let go. Oh, sorry for hitting the mic. So I let go and flip the door. I just got out of bounds. That's not allowed. That's no good. Oh, I wonder if I can do it here. Like that. Now, I was like, this is a bit of an issue because I definitely don't want people to go out of bounds as much as possible. But at the same time, this issue is not something the player is going to hit very often. Because it has to be, first of all, this type of door where you have opening in the horizontal direction, so you can sit at the ceiling and fall. Or you need to somehow be in the air while this happens. And you know, if we are making the keys in such a manner that you will have to go to somewhere to activate the door and then go back to it and go through, then you'll never really be in this situation. So I might leave it in as another feature, because I don't value it as a high priority bug, but it could potentially be one. I just feel like it's one of those where it might be interesting to leave it in for potential speedrunners in the future to abuse if they want. It's not good if I do, because then I'll need to account for it wherever I make the doors, which since I know, who knows if it's going to be an issue. But it's not breaking the game, essentially. I mean, you know, not yet anyway. And yeah, that's actually about it for today. Because, of course, I guess we can speed run back through since you won't really be able to see much. Oh, shoot, I might have to flip the door. Yep. We are currently in an undisclosed location significantly further ahead than where we have been before. So you haven't seen any of this environment, but luckily, because there's no foreground or background, you won't be able to make anything out of it anyway. And I know where we are, which is all that matters. Oh, that was something goofy looking there as well. I think now we are back in the previous area, one of the ones that you have seen before. But again, you know, probably can't tell. But yeah, that's the basic gist for today. This is mainly just a quick update while I'm working on more environment before, because I needed to make a backup before I start making even more. And I am basically in the process of trying to build out the entire game. Figure out all of the levels that needs to be within the map. And once I have all the levels, then we can start filling in all the foregrounds that come in right here, and backgrounds and all that sort of stuff. We can fill in all the units that will then fit with the environment that they are in, which will give a better cohesion, I think, for the whole feel of the game. And now we're back at the start. So yeah, thank you for watching. Keep looking out. There will probably be a significant amount of time till the next update again, because again, I could show you the whole map and proceed to spoil the whole game before it's made, or choose to not show you anything, which is sort of a problem either way. I'll probably keep doing some small updates for when I have something that I feel like showing. This time around it was the doors as an example. But until then, you're gonna have to be patient. So thank you for tuning in, if you're still here. And remember, take care.